Human. Dawn is ascending. How was your rest? I trust you found these quarters comfort enough. I find there's a calmness in the energy of the wing of this manor. This particular spot. In fact, the others won't visit this wing, which carries a certain peace of mind for me at least. To my kind, this wing emits a rancid, off-putting smell, undetectable to mortals. It's believed the smell is caused by some supernatural anomaly tied to the space. Most likely the trapped soul of a long-deceased mortal who has not yet been able to move on from this earth. That happens every so often. A mortal soul is doomed to purgatory for an undefined amount of time. So they end up wandering the earth, usually tied to some object or place, haunting those unfortunate enough to come into contact. In the past, if a vampire encounters one of these sad, helpless beings, the exchange does not end well. For the vampire, at least. A mortal in purgatory is a dangerous thing. Like a caged animal, fearful and desperate, with nothing to lose. And when a mortal, dead or alive, believes they have nothing to lose, and no stake in a game, they become a problem. But enough about that. Whatever the spirit is, they have never shown threat or force to me personally. And that is all that matters for now. Here, I brought you some breakfast. You must be famished. Luckily, the others like to keep some human food in the home, mainly to keep up appearances for times when mortals must enter the house, for one reason or another. An entire kitchen and dining quarter without a single plate or piece of fruit might be cause for suspicion, don't you think? And there is enough suspicion surrounding this home already. You see, the others are smart. And they do what they can to keep up appearances. Here, please feel free to eat. Don't be shy. I may no longer enjoy consumption of human food, but I recall the fulfilling experience of eating, even after so many years. There's a certain comfort in that ritual. But let's continue yesterday's discussion. You'll recall that I mentioned a second option that would help you attain what you desire. That enlightened path to truth and power of the world. You'll recall this alternative does not require you to become one of my kind, and as such, it has its own unique set of considerations to be wary of. You see, hundreds of years ago, whispers of an ancient spell rippled through the vampire population. This spell was said to contain certain supernatural powers to transfer a level of immortal skill to humans without making them immortal. Things like increased strength and speed, agility, sensory capacity, and the untapped capacity for knowledge and comprehension. But perhaps most significantly, it allowed humans to escape the biological aging process. Although, unlike vampires, they could still be killed in many of the usual mortal ways like illness or bodily harm. Most of my kind dismissed this thing as folklore, of no consequence to our world. Until one day a human appeared, proving the spell true. And this particular human proved a troubling threat to my kind. And the spell was immediately banned. No vampire could openly perform it again without threat of persecution. You see, a stronger, smarter human race is a direct threat to the dark existence of the underworld. Even speaking of it now, I am at great risk. It is a worthy risk, however, my dear. If you can consider this alternative, in place of your desire to become one of my kind. It is not without some drawbacks, however. You would, of course, have the ability to gain such powers, but as I said, you would not be fully immortal. It is not without some drawbacks, however. You would have the ability to gain such powers, but as I said, you would not be fully immortal. And if careful, you might manage to survive hundreds of years, providing you could stay alive that long. But you would not be immune to typical mortal threats. It must sound enticing, I'm sure, but there is one more thing. If you were to undergo this spell, your existing memories would be erased. You would hold no ties to your existing world. It would be erased as if you're born again with new power and possibilities. A lonely birth, but a blank slate on which to experience the world and craft an entirely new existence. And because I would be the one to implement the spell, I am the only memory you would be permitted to retain with this rebirth. All of our past conversations and connections would be preserved. Thankfully enough, I would be the only familiar puzzle piece in this new world of yours. Now, would you forego all the things you know and love to ascend to new heights and obtain the wisdom you so desperately seek? Is that a price worth paying, my dear? This is a very personal question. I'm sure you now understand why I say this decision is yours, and yours alone.